What it do, people? Welcome to the Axis of Combat podcast, episode 85. Today we're going to be breaking down UFC, what I thought was a pay-per-view, but it turns out to be a little bit of a glorified fight night taking place in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It's your boy Ray Boogie Kahuna, my co-host.
Who the boss? Who got next? You already know. And before we get into any of that hoopla, you already know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying the visual portion of this podcast right now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know.
First fight on the card, at men's lightweight, we have Abdul-Kareem Al-Selwady, the pride of Palestine, going one-on-one with the Zulu warrior, Bolaji Oki. Al-Selwady is 15-4, fighting out of Dallas, Texas, but repping Palestine, 29 years old. Oki, 9-2, fighting out of Belgium, hailing from Belgium, 29 years old. Kind of an interesting way to kick off this card. We'll start with Al-Selwady. I think he is a Dollar Tree version of Merab. Less takedown attempts, maybe slightly better striking, but pace and cardio, that's this guy's two weapons here. Not his original opponent. He was originally supposed to be fighting the Monkey King, and Levitt fell out. I thought if that fight was still on,
Selwady easy.
Selwady easy.
Correct.
Steps in Bolaji Oki here, the Zulu warrior. This is a guy who I think has the athleticism, definitely has the power. I think he can do some things here in the UFC. Not really impressed with him so far. I think his first fight was kind of a snooze fest. His second fight kind of showed me he's a little green. Kind of just left his neck out there for Chris Duncan to sleep him.
We called that too.
Yeah.
Him being live for that fight, so.
I think this fight depends on the pace. Oki, if he can get his jab established early, he hits hard. Selwady, one of his only weaknesses is his chin. Very chinny man. Matter of fact, all his losses are via KO. I do think Al-Selwady wins this fight. I think it's probably going to be by decision. But give me Selwady here. Not that much confidence.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I feel like this fight's predominantly going to stay on the feet. And if you're going to stay on the feet with Oki, like Oki will be able to place his shots. He's going to land on you, and he lands hard. The better fighter here is Al-Selwady, but
yeah, got more experience, and he's fought the better brand.
I can't trust him in this line, and I can't bet Oki at minus money. So my thing is, it's like, this is either dog or pass. So I'm going to lean Al-Selwady, but not with a high degree of confidence at all. I'm with you. I don't see too much grappling going on in this fight, and I actually feel like Oki might be the one to engage it because he's going to have a hard time circling and with Selwady's footwork. And
yeah, Selwady's going to be all over the place in the ring.
Yeah, his footwork and him just dancing around the octagon and picking his shots. I feel like Oki might be the one who's actually going to engage with the wrestling here. So give me Selwady, but man, not with a high degree of confidence.
Next fight on the card at men's heavyweight, we have Hamdy Abdelwahab. I think I got that right? Not too sure.
Abdelwahab.
Abdelwahab.
Yeah, I think it's Abdelwahab, but I think so.
The Hammer. Pause. Going one-on-one with Jamal Pogues, the Stormtrooper. No pause. Hamdy. Perfect. 3-0. Fighting out of New York, but repping Egypt. 32 years old. Pogues, the Stormtrooper, is 11-4. Fighting out of Victorville, California. 29 years old. Start on the Hamdy side here. A guy that I did fade in his debut, short notice, against Dontel Mays. What a dummy. I am a dummy.
Dontel could have finished him.
That was the first and last time I put fade in Dontel Mays.
That was an ugly fight. I was with you there, man. He should have won that fight. He had his moment. He should have stopped him low key.
Hamdy ended up winning that fight, but then ended up getting that fight turned into a no contest because Hamdy's short notice was probably, not probably. He did pop for the gear.
Pissed hot. Yep.
Pissed super hot. Now he's coming back here against Jamal Pogues. Pogues, a guy who I think has decent striking, has some decent takedown defense, but I think he's more of a light heavyweight. He has fought at light heavyweight before. He kind of lacks that heavyweight power. Hamdy, Olympic wrestler, trains out of New York. I'm going to be leaning Hamdy here. Low confidence. Also, they're in Saudi Arabia. Maybe he gets a little extra juice, no pun intended. He gets a win here. So I'm going to be leaning Hamdy here. I'm leaning the Hammer to kill the Stormtrooper.
Yeah, I'm with you here on Hamdy, and I'm with you on Hamdy because I seen Pogues get taken down by Petersen in the first round of their fight, and
not too high on Petersen.
He didn't know what he was doing on the floor. I think if Hamdy gets him down, a lot of nasty shit can happen, especially post USADA, allegedly. So His name should be Jamal Triple P Pogues because he's fought all three kinds of truck drivers: Parisian, Petersen, and Parkin.
Damn, he's got the trifecta of the P's.
Yeah. His name is Pogues, which is also a P, ironically.
Quadruple P.
So Triple P Pogues. Parkin's a level up.
Yeah,
so I'm going to excuse that one.
I like Park.
Parisian, he did what he had to do.
Bum.
Petersen, you could, like, they gave him a unanimous decision to win in that fight, but I thought that fight was low-key, like, split decision. You could argue Petersen won that fight.
Yeah, but I think what edged it for Pogues there was
the striking.
His more active hands, you know?
Yeah,
he's got fast hands.
I agree, but when you get control like that in the wrestling,
yeah,
I'm just like, and he got landed on the floor too, so it's not like.
And Hamdy's the better wrestler for sure coming in this fight.
Yeah, for me, if Hamdy's very good at getting on the single leg, like he did against Dontel Mays, and making you work and get you down off the single leg, and if he does that against Pogues, I think he's gonna do whatever he wants to. I'm a little more confident with you on Hamdy. I get it with like the layoff. That's the only thing that kind of like scares me off of betting him. But don't be surprised if I make a play on him closer to fight night, because this is a pick 'em line, and I feel like this guy has a clear wrestling advantage over this guy. Give me Hamdy, not with a high degree of confidence, but give me Hamdy.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have the Unleashed Bogdan Grad going one-on-one with Lucas the Lion Alexander. Grad is 14-2. Fighting out of Austria, repping Austria, 29 years old. The Lion Alexander is 8-4 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 29 years old. Key word for this fight is probably going to be pace. Who's going to control the pace here? Alexander, very good striker. Likes to use his leg kicks a lot. A little chaotic, a little wild. Can pressure, can move forward. Exciting striker overall. Grad, the kind of guy that likes to slow things down a bit. He's going to be the more technical guy. I'm going to be picking Grad here only because, well, it's two reasons. One, I just think technically he's better. Two, Alexander's last fight really left a sour taste in my mouth. You can't be losing to a guy from India. No offense.
Just Indian MMA is not developed.
It's
not there, man. It's just like what Peruvian MMA was 5 to 6 years ago. It was a joke, like, and it's still kind of in that category to an extent.
For me, Sergey, I just didn't rate him that high. I thought Lucas was going to run through him, and turned out the complete opposite. I don't have any confidence that Lucas can bother Bogdan here. I just think Bogdan is going to be able to find his spots, take his time, beat him up, and probably win by decision. So I'm going Bogdan Grad by decision.
Yeah, this fight is battle of the mid.
Yeah.
This fight low key is a fight you should probably stay away from. I think Lucas has got the better skills. I think Bogdan's the more complete fighter, but if you're asking me who has like the finishing upside in this fight, it's Lucas.
I don't disagree with that.
By far.
I agree with you there.
Like the two fights that Homeboy had on the Contender Series, man, I just was not impressed. Matter of fact, what's GSP, man? I need him right now.
His performance, are you impressed?
I'm not impressed by your performance.
Not impressed.
Yeah, I didn't think Bogdan. I don't think Bogdan's UFC material. Yeah. I don't know if Lucas is necessarily UFC material either, but I think him on the feet is filthy. Bogdan's entries aren't that good. Bogdan's striking, I feel like his footwork is not great.
I don't disagree with you. It is low level, and I'm not high on either guy.
Yeah, he lost to Tom Nolan, who I am not necessarily high on in his first.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think Tom Nolan's that crazy either.
Yeah, in his first Contender Series fight.
You're right.
And then he beat Aswell. And you could argue Aswell beat him. If you watch that fight, like, I don't think he won either one of his Contender Series fights.
Yeah, this fight is actually probably a little more sweaty than I'm. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it's probably going to be a little more sweaty today.
I think it's dog or pass, and Lucas is the dog here. I think there's other people you can put on better lines here on this card, you know. And me and you talked about off the cast, like you can't trust Lucas Alexander. His chin is dog shit. Like
I just thought that, I don't know, that last fight just, I don't know, maybe I'm letting the personal bias get in.
Sergey has decent striking,
yeah.
So I'm not gonna completely write it off, but it's like, bro, he always seems to be on the center line.
Yeah,
like, move your head, bro. Move your fucking head. Like,
yeah,
move your fucking head, bro. Like, I don't understand, like, when you get to this level and you get clipped 3 times like that, and you think it's okay to just keep fighting like that.
You're not wrong,
dude. Do something, just because your chin ain't it. It ain't it. Just fight defensively, man. I can't trust a dude like that. But if you're asking me, man, this is a guy that Lucas should be able to exploit, because I think he's just way better than him on the feet.
I think you flipped me. I wasn't too sold on the fight anyway. I said it with confidence, but I wasn't really confident.
I tell you what, this is it's borderline 1-800 gamblers. I don't know if I can get on board with betting this fight unless Lucas's line opens up crazy. So for me, it's like, this is dog or pass. I think this is a fight you should pass on. That's where I'm at. This is a terrible fight. It's going to be fun because it's battle of the mid, but it's not a fight you're going to comfortably have your dollars. Lucas could be winning the whole fight, get clipped. That's the kind of fight we're asking. There's too many variables. So for me, it's dog or pass, and we'll leave it at that. Lucas Alexander's the lead.
Next fight on the card, at women's flyweight, we have Jasmine Jasudavicius going one-on-one with the Shitada, Mayra Bueno Silva. Jasudavicius is 12-3, fighting out of Canada, repping Canada, 35 years old. Bueno Silva is 10-4-1, fighting out of Brazil. Actually, no, fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, but repping Brazil, 33 years old. Interesting fight in probably more ways than one. I think this is going to be the first women's fight in Saudi Arabia, at least from the UFC side. I think PFL did it first with Decheva, if I'm not mistaken, but PFL did do it first. I'm kind of going back and forth on who I think is going to win this fight. Obviously, Jasudavicius, you know, born and bred wrestler, developed her striking. She's very good. She's very relentless.
Good chin.
Good chin, maybe not so good defense because, you know,
she leans on it.
Might want to leans on it a little too much. Might want to move the chin a bit. But Bueno Silva, again, her last fight against Macy Chiasson wasn't looking too good. But I mean, the stoppage was a cut stoppage.
Yo, get me on that cash out, boys. I think I'm not lying to you guys. I can pull it up for you guys.
Yeah.
I think I hit a plus 3,400 on the second round stoppage. It was obvious to me. That was an obvious play.
Yeah.
I put enough to win like a couple of units on it. So just want to throw that out there. You know, like this, and guess what? I will be playing this fight the same way because Mayra, and sorry to jump in.
No.
Mayra's coming down a weight class from bantamweight.
I think we kind of agree here.
Yeah, like Mayra's coming down a weight class from bantamweight. Is she even going to make the weight at flyweight? How's she going to look? Is she going to be extremely depleted? And if she's depleted, she's not going to be able to have gas for 3 rounds of this fight. Not with a girl who's going to wrestle into her. I think Jazz has high potential to stop this fight late.
I don't hate the weight cut. If she can make it and she can make it healthy, I think this is probably a better weight for her. She does have the power edge. That kind of scares me because Jasmine's hittable.
Better in the clinch.
She is better in the clinch.
Good leg kicks.
She has better submissions. I think she is the like if you're gonna
better by sub.
If you like the Bueno Silva side,
better by sub.
From a betting perspective, I kind of like maybe finish no action or finish only, something along those lines.
I agree.
Because I think if this goes the distance, I don't think she's winning. Because
she's not winning the minutes.
The things I don't like about Bueno Silva, the cardio,
ass,
the heart.
Ass.
If things are not going well for her,
he looks for the door.
I feel like she looks for the door, and I don't like that, particularly from a betting perspective. I don't like that from a betting perspective.
Listen, I think Jasudavicius is more,
and Jazz is all dog.
She's more vicious on the floor than Chiasson.
I agree with that.
And Chiasson stopped this girl, and I played it because it was, for me, it was obvious.
I think
it was obvious as day that was going to happen.
Depending on what the unders look like, this is probably a good under bet.
Yeah, I hope it's 2.5.
Yeah,
I really do. Because if it's plus money, you smash the shit out of it.
Yes.
I don't see. Don't get me wrong. Could Mayra sub Jazz 100%? Like that's why I don't think picking a side here is the right way to bet it. I think the right way to bet it is probably Jazz unders and Jazz round 2, round 3, and you play small depending on the value of how much you're getting back on like a knockout or just Jazz round 2, Jazz round 3. Especially since the thing is Jazz is subbing girls now, so. She might sub her.
I think the unders are safe. I was initially going to go fight ends in sub, but I could 100% see just Jasmine just ground and pounding Mayra, and then Mayra just looking for the door.
Especially,
right? I could see it.
Correct. Especially since Mayra has never been subbed.
There's a world where Mayra Bueno Silva knocks out Jasudavicius. Yeah. Because she hits that hard.
She's very hard.
I think pound for pound, one of the heaviest hitters in the women's divisions in general. Like she's up there with like Andrade. She can hit. She hits hard. Another thing that kind of like skews this fight a little bit for me is that Bueno Silva is going to get the fight that she kind of wants because Jasmine doesn't initially go to the grappling. She likes to strike, and Bueno Silva also likes to strike. So that kind of scares me a bit because I know how reliant on the chin Jasmine is. But that being said, I think if Jasmine takes this to the ground, I think she can keep it safe. It can be a little risky there because the jiu-jitsu is very good on the Bueno Silva side. But Bueno
will tire on the floor.
If Bueno
tires on the floor, I think Jazz cuts through it like butter. And
the later this fight goes, the worse it's going to be for Bueno.
Yeah, I think that's what, like I said, I would play Mayra sub if you're going to play her. And then I would play, or ITD. whichever one. Like you could probably play both if you're leaning that side, or play Jazz rounds 2, round 3, or even round 3 decision.
But I
don't hate that either.
I'm definitely leaning Jazz though for the win.
Yeah, she's gonna win the minutes of this fight.
Yeah,
she's gonna win the minutes.
Not so much confidence. From a betting perspective, I like the unders better. But
correct.
If I had to pick a side, and I will pick a side, I'll pick Jasmine.
I'm with you as well.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have the smile killer Faris Ziam going one-on-one with Beast Boy Mike Davis. Ziam is 16-4, fighting out of France, hailing from France, 27 years old. Mike Davis, Beast Boy, is 11-2, fighting out of Orlando, Florida, 32 years old. One of the more interesting fights on this card. I'm a fan of both guys. I've become a fan of Ziam. I didn't really like him initially. I feel like a little slow paced, I guess on the boring side. I'm trying to be a little nice about it, but maybe it's a product of the opponents he's been fighting. He has been showing not only improved takedown defense, but better striking, better pace, high IQ in the ring. The guy's a good fighter, considering he's from France, where they, primarily they do a lot of kickboxing there, don't really train the wrestling. He's made strides in the wrestling. He's got good submission defense, good takedown defense. Also, his size and length kind of help him in that department in terms of, he's hard to take down. And then when he's down, immediately looking for a way to get back up. Beast Boy, extreme fan of this guy. But I guess I'm going to get a little nerdy here. I have a little comparison. Mike Davis reminds me of Goku in Kaioken. When he goes into his Kaioken form, because I think he's that good. The issue is, when Goku comes out his Kaioken form, his body fails him. Mike Davis's body, unfortunately, fails him. He's always injured. He's always on the sideline recouping because he either gets hurt in fights or he gets hurt in training. The guy's always hurt. It's unfortunate because I think he's a very good striker. I think he's got very good wrestling, very good submissions. I think he's a very good fighter, but he's just always on the sideline. There's always something up with the guy. I'm going to be leaning Ziam here for the win. He also turned out to be the dog in this fight. If you got him early, congratulations. He opened up around 200. He ain't 200 no more. I still think Ziam should be the favorite in this fight, which is why I'm still, from a betting perspective, probably going to put a little bit on him. Dog or pass, I'd like Mike a lot. I'm a fan of the guy, but I think Ziam has just been a little more active, showed more strides in his game, and I think he's just a little more hungry. So I'm going to go Ziam here. Don't really have a method of victory.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on the dog. Speaking about the Goku analogy, it's interesting because he has like the whole Majin Vegeta, the Majin tattoo on the back of his neck.
Oh, so I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He's gonna love that comparison then, maybe.
Yeah. Yo, Mike, what up?
What up, Mike?
He also got like I think he has a whole bunch of DBZ tats on his shoulders as well too. So we're huge fans of Dragon Ball Z, obviously. So if you look in our backgrounds, it's pretty obvious. But what I will say is that Mike, physical specimen, gorilla of a man, he has a path to victory here with the wrestling. I do think he can take down Ziam. I just don't know if he's going to be able to control Ziam for 3 rounds. And that's where I feel like this fight's going to get very close, especially in Ziam's part of the world because they're fighting in Saudi Arabia. I've seen some weird judging over there. I do think this fight's going to be close, and if this fight's going to be close, I'm going to lean the dog here with Ziam. Mike can control him with the wrestling. Mike, I think, is the bigger puncher, but I think Ziam's the more complete striker.
Also, side note, I am worried about Mike's chin a bit.
Yes.
Because he can get clipped.
Yeah, I just think, and the thing is too, I feel like Mike is not a good cardio machine. Yeah, I think he cuts a lot of weight to make the weight. He's also not active, and he's older. Ziam coming off arguably knockout of the year against a guy who, I know people are going to like try to overlook Matt Frevola, but dude, Matt Frevola took down Arman Tsarukyan multiple times in their fight. And Arman, if you know, guys, Arman's about to fight for the belt. That guy is, I think, in my opinion, Arman's a better wrestler than Islam. Open mat. And, I don't think if that's an opinion. I think it's pretty obvious that he is. If Matt Frevola is taking that guy down, he had a hard time taking down Ziam. And I understand Matt might be a little shot. I think Mike will probably have similar success, but I do see Ziam having similar success with some of the shot selections because Mike's footwork is a lot like Matt's. It's very stationary. It's not loose. Ziam is going to be hopping around, playing the outside of the cage,
using his length,
and he knows how to fight big.
Yep.
So for me, it's like I think it's rightfully lined because Mike probably has the wrestling edge to take this to the floor and control him. But I just have a hard time believing he's going to be able to control Ziam for large spans of time during the contest, as well as hold him down without gassing and not getting stopped with a body shot late or getting beat up in the second for two of the three rounds. So I got to lean. It's dog or pass play. I'm leaning the dog. I already made the play at plus 125 on Ziam.
Good shit.
I seen it at 210, and then the next day it went down to 125.
Obliterated that line. Yeah,
so
that line got crazy.
This just goes to show you when you have a read. I was on it, and I did not make it. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if I sound a little congested on this podcast, I apologize. I am a little under the weather, but we're working through for you guys. But
sick boy.
Give me Ziam. Give me Ziam for the play here.
Next fight on the card at men's lightweight, we have Terrance T-Rex McKinney going one-on-one with the Bosnian bomber, Damir Hadžović. I think that's how you say his last name.
Yeah.
If I mispronounce it, I apologize. But McKinney, 15-7, fighting out of Florida, 30 years old. Damir, he is 14-7, fighting out of Bosnia. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, no, he's repping Bosnia, but fighting out of Denmark. He is 38 years old. This is a fight Terrance McKinney should win.
Absolutely.
Straight off the bat, straight off rip. The younger guy, this guy hasn't fought in almost 3 years, Damir. Got some good losses, or not good losses, but, he's lost to some notable guys. All his wins are against people who are not even in the UFC anymore. Older, slower. Don't fuck around and find out, because, it's an MMA fight at the end of the day. This all just comes down to what kind of mindset McKinney's in. Like I said, I think McKinney should win this by however he wants. I got a weird feeling he's going to be sub.
I agree.
But
he's way better than him on the floor. The wrestling and the grappling are just a different level. And this guy lost to Mark Diakese. Mark Diakese will snooze you. But if Mark Diakese actually wanted to go for a finish on this guy, he probably could have gotten it.
In terms of a betting perspective, this one kind of just stinks. Only because McKinney is just so, in my opinion, just unreliable. He started off as a reliable bet, but like McKinney, like he's his own worst enemy.
Correct.
He's got terrible cardio and a very questionable chin, but he's got very good power, very good wrestling. I'm gonna pick McKinney early. If this fight goes past maybe halfway into the second round,
live bet Damir.
I do not hate a live bet on Damir. I really don't. But I think McKinney should get this one done. He should win. But in terms of making a bet, proceed with caution.
Yeah, there's a big stay away from me. For all the reasons you mentioned, everything you said, cardio is the biggest issue for McKinney here, but he's better than this guy everywhere, in my opinion. He hits harder. He's way more explosive. His wrestling's off the hook. His grappling is off the hook. It's just whether or not he can get this guy down and do what he wants in the first round. If he can't, if it gets past that 3 to 4 minute mark, he's going to be in some real trouble. So give me McKinney, man, but man, not with a high degree of confidence.
Next fight on the card at men's heavyweight, we have Shamil Gaziev going one-on-one with Thomas the Train Petersen. Gaziev fighting out of Bahrain, repping Bahrain, 13-1 overall, 34 years old. Petersen, the Train, 9-2, fighting out of Webster, Minnesota, 29 years old. Another mid-level heavyweight fight we got here in the card. I'm going to be picking Shamil here, though, because I think Shamil is actually better than his last fight. Kind of got a little,
exposed.
I don't want to say exposed. I do want to say dominated. I think it was, I don't want to say fraud checked either. I think it's a little more of a reality check, I think he moved up a little too fast too soon. I like Jairzinho a lot. Jairzinho was able to, not only mitigate Shamil's wrestling for the most part. Shamil didn't really go for it as much as I thought he was going to do in that fight, and kind of got schooled on the feet, because that's Jairzinho shit, right? He's a good striker. Not that Shamil is terrible, but Shamil, I think a little too much too soon for the boy.
And by the way, his last fight was against Dontel Mays, where he won via this unanimous decision. We're talking about the second to last fight.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it's forgettable. That's why I just want to make, throw it in there.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Thomas Petersen, his last fight.
One of the three P's of Pogues.
One of the 3 P's of Pogues. For some reason, I do remember his second to last fight as well, against Pogues, the fight that he lost. Don't remember too much about his last fight against the brother of Usman. What's his name? Muhammad Usman. But I like Shamil here. I just think striking-wise, I think he's a little better. Grappling-wise, I think he should be better. Thomas, good chin. big country boy strength, can take it down if he wants to. I think his wrestling is probably a little better than his striking. Tough guy overall, but I think this is a fight that I think Gaziev, I think he's got him covered, and I think Gaziev is probably going to win here. Maybe, I hope it's a finish. So I'm going to say Gaziev by finish. Wouldn't be surprised at 3-round snooze fest though.
I agree. I feel like Shamil's going to win the minutes here too, just to add on to everything you mentioned, and we'll get through this real quick. I think Shamil's going to win the minutes with the cage pushing and the aggression. Petersen not like the most aggressive fighter, and Shamil also great chin. So if he gets caught, he took bombs from Jorginho, walked through it, bombs from Dontel Mays, walked through it. I just feel like Shamil's going to be able to enforce his game plan in this fight. It's weird because I think they're both listed around 265, but Shamil's bigger.
Shamil's naturally just bigger.
He's a bigger dude, you know, so it's like Shamil should get it done. He should get it done ITD as well. So give me Shamil's the lead. Not sure how I'm gonna play it yet.
Next fight on the card at men's featherweight, we have the Hillman, Muhammad Naimov, going one-on-one with Genghis Kaan Offley. Naimov fighting out of Denver, Colorado, but repping Tajikistan, 30 years old. Offley 11-3-1, fighting out of Australia, but repping Turkey, 31 years old. This feels like a fight that Naimov should probably win. Nothing against Offley. Offley, coming from the last season of The Ultimate Fighter, he lost to Santos in devastating fashion. He kind of got dog walked. I didn't think that was going to happen at all.
I agree.
Kaan is a good striker, good wrestler. I think he's a little short, a little small for the division, unfortunately. Naimov is going to have the reach. He's going to have the height. The only problem I think I have with Naimov is that I don't think he has a clean win in the UFC. I think the Nathaniel Wood fight was probably his best fight, but even that one was kind of close. Eric Silva, that fight ended in some kind of weird ass injury and then ended up losing against Felipe Lima.
No shame in that.
No shame in that. I just think Naimov has probably got him covered everywhere here.
I agree.
I don't really see Offley giving him any kind of trouble, particularly on the feet, maybe in the grappling department, but Naimov not at home, but on his side of the world, I think he's going to get it done here.
I think Naimov's a bit of a weight bully.
I kind of agree with that, actually.
I don't think he's good. His striking's actually relatively creative, but I like Offley. I think Offley's the more complete fighter, which is crazy, but I think Naimov is just going to be able to push him around and cage push and get him down and control him. I don't know how Offley's going to be able to keep this guy off of him. Offley, small for the weight class, should be fighting at 35 to be frank, but he's broad, so I understand why he's fighting at 45, but I like his game. I just think he's fighting guys that are a little too big. And listen, there's a trend here. Look at Naimov, Nathaniel Wood. I think the all-around better fighter, but just got bullied by the bigger guy who can wrestle. I expect him to be amped up on his side of the world, so I expect him to get it done. Give me Naimov. Not sure how. I'd say probably by decision, but man, I'm not very confident in that. Naimov definitely the side here.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight, we have Ikram Aliskerov going one-on-one with, I'm not going to say his nickname, Andre Muniz. Aliskerov 15-2, fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 32 years old. Muniz 24-6, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 34 years old. Not going to waste too much time on this one either, because straight to the point, I think Andre Muniz is a little fugazi. Aliskerov, this is a bounce back fight for him. I mean, listen, he's only got 2 losses. His 2 losses come at the hands of Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev. Not bad losses at all. I mean, and even his last fight against Robert Whittaker, it is fucking Robert Whittaker. He did fly short notice to fight Robert Whittaker. Hats off to him, but it is, not the worst loss in the world. I think Aliskerov is very good. I think this is going to be a bounce back fight for him. I think he's going to beat Muniz probably by ground and pound. I think he's going to knock him out.
They would have been packing them up.
Give me Aliskerov bounce back fight against Muniz, who I think has good jiu-jitsu, serviceable striking, a little overrated, and I think he's going to get stomped on here. Let's keep it a buck.
Yeah, I think Muniz is like he subbed Jacare and they thought he was the next big thing. He subbed 40-year-old Jacare and everyone he did something Anthony Hernandez had already conquered. Like Anthony Hernandez already conquered. He already climbed that hill. Kevin Holland knocked him out from his back already. Oh, this guy comes along and just inverted triangles him. Okay, cool, bro. His grappling is really good.
No, it's good though. It's good.
I just think at the UFC level, like his striking is not there.
It's getting better, but not there.
Aliskerov thumps more. I think he's gonna be bigger, or just like they're gonna be the same size in this contest. But Aliskerov hits hard. Muniz questionable gas gas tank, questionable chin. I mean, listen, there's a guy who got outstruck by Paul Craig, and we bet Paul Craig in that fight. He was like a plus 400, by the way. And we told you guys how that fight was gonna go. So trust us when we tell you that Aliskerov is gonna mollywop this boy. I think it's a get well fight. There's a thank you from the UFC to him. Aliskerov by however he wants.
Next fight at men's bantamweight, we have Said Nurmagomedov going one-on-one with Loke Dog Vinicius Oliveira. Said is 18-3, fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 32 years old. Oliveira is 21-3, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 29 years old. This is probably the most interesting fight on this card, or at least the most interesting fight involving two individuals who are not really like, household names, in my opinion. I'll start on the Loke Dog side. I hear a lot of people calling him Lock Dog. Come on, man. Get cultured.
Get cultured, bro.
Get cultured, man. Jesus Christ. It's Loke Dog.
Watch a Wayans Brothers movie, bro. Please.
Yes, please. South Central. Like, Loke Dog. Unorthodox striker. Very good striker, in my opinion. Hits hard, funky, uses a lot of leg kicks, uses a lot of, he likes the style. He's got a bit of Anderson Silva to him, like that swagger. He's decent on the ground. His takedown defense is probably a little questionable here. Decent chin, at least, so far in the UFC. He's going one-on-one here with Nurmagomedov, who, in my opinion, the better grappler, probably the better striker, more of an orthodox striker, but very fast hands, very fast leg kicks, throws up the craziest spinning shit. Also, a little questionable when it comes maybe to the cardio. He's one of those guys who can slow down a bit, not necessarily get extremely tired, but he will slow down. Got a lot of sub wins, particularly via what do you call that, Darce or Anaconda or whatever.
Yeah.
Some front head series locks joints is crazy for him. Close fight. I'm back and forth on it. I'm gonna lean Nurmagomedov just because of the wrestling.
Agreed.
I think he can, if there's any kind of exchanges, get to Vinicius's back and lock him up and control him for minutes at a time. Give me Nurmagomedov by decision here.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Nurmagomedov simply because of the wrestling, but this might be just a dog or pass play.
People gonna...
Oh, wrong one, guys. Sorry, Mike Perry. There you go. Dog or pass play.
Well, I feel like that one is also appropriate because this one's going to be a banger.
I agree. This is a very interesting fight, and I think it's a dog or pass play just because Vinicius has the finishing upside, in my opinion. I think he hits harder. I think he's probably a more opportunistic grappler, low key. I think Said's a better grappler, but yeah. But the thing is, he has a clear path to victory, which is why you have to lean Said here. But I do think this line's a little out of control for a guy who just beat Ricky Simone, and don't get me wrong, I think Ricky was either hurt in that fight or he's washed.
I mean, but he did what he needed. He got a dog walked him.
He dog walked Ricky, yeah. You can't take it away from him. And then it's also for a guy who does not have good third round gas. He just doesn't. And Vinicius is a pressure fighter. So for me, it's Said is the lean, but this might be a dog or pass spot. So give me Said for the lean though.
Next fight on the card at men's heavyweight, we have Sergey Pavlovich going one-on-one with Biggie Boy Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Pavlovich is 18-3, fighting out of Moscow, Russia. Hailing from Russia, 32 years old. Rozenstruik is 15-5, fighting out of Suriname, repping Suriname, 36 years old. First glance, this is a very interesting fight. I think Pavlovich's last fight was against Volkov, right?
Yeah, made money there.
Struggled, he struggled that in pretty much that entire fight because Volkov was able to use his size and his reach. He fought him big. Was able to fight him technically for the whole fight, frustrate him. When you see Jairzinho's similar style in terms of he's a technical striker, decorated kickboxer, can use his hands and his feet, very patient, but I don't think is gonna look the same.
Yeah, he doesn't have the dimensions, low key.
Unfortunately, I think Jairzinho, who probably can give him some trouble initially with the jab and do all that stuff, I don't think he has the size or the reach to really hold off Sergey here. I think Sergey, very powerful man.
Hand speed is crazy too.
Extremely fast hands for a guy who can hit as hard as he hits.
And throws in combination.
Throws in combo and throws fucking hard. Both guys are not going to be wrestling here, so Sergey's not going to have to worry about any kind of takedown defense. Rozenstruik, same thing. These guys do not want to wrestle. Unfortunately, I feel like if you want to beat Sergey, if you can't fight like Volkov, you're going to want to take him down. That's not going to happen here. And in a stand-up fight between the guy who has knocked out essentially everybody outside of Aspinall and Volkov, I'm going to be leaning the guy who's essentially knocked out everybody besides Volkov and Aspinall. So give me Sergey here. Probably first or second round knockout, but I think he gets this one done. Nothing against Rosenstruck. I like him. I think he's a very good guy, good fighter in general, but a little too patient, a little too like counter punchery here. And I just don't think he's going to be able to thwart anything Sergey wants to do.
Yeah, I think he's too low volume and he's not pressure fighter. He has good low leg kicks, but that's about it. Like, if he's not getting the jab going and pumping it early and really getting in his face with it, he's going to have a hard time keeping Sergey up on his back foot. And the only way you're going to beat Sergey is keeping him on his back foot or just outclassing him from the outside. And honestly, Jorginho could do it, but I don't think he has the dimensions. I think he's a little older. I think he's been caught before. I think this is the biggest puncher he's fought since Francis Ngannou. And I think you're going to see... And listen, remember, Jorginho also got stopped by Volkov as well, which Volkov does not do on a typical basis. Caught him, clinched him up, dropped the elbow, finished him. Yeah. Immediately. And for Volkov to be able to get... For you to allow Volkov, who's not like the biggest puncher, to get in and just drop you with an elbow and do things of that nature, I think Sergey, with his hand speed and his physicality, is going to be a little too much for Jorginho to handle. Give me Sergey by knockout here, man.
Next fight on the card at men's middleweight and has currently constituted the co-main event of the evening. We have Shara Nurmagomedov going one-on-one with Michael Venom Page, MVP. Magomedov, perfect. 15-0 fighting out of Russia, hailing from Russia, 30 years old. MVP Michael Venom Page is 22-3 fighting out of London, England, 37 years old. Another striker versus striker match. Another very interesting fight here. Another fight that I'm kind of looking forward to be honest. MVP moving up in weight to fight this guy. Shara Bullet. We know what it is. Flashy striker. When he wants to be. I feel like he was billed to be like this very high pace, explosive fighter who's gonna like just run through the division because his kickboxing is crazy. And
everyone thinks because Alex Pereira and Stylebender did it, they could do it too. That's the problem.
And I'm not saying that the guy is whack, because he isn't. But, a little more gun shy, a little more green, a little more calculated in terms of his, the way he wants to approach these kind of fights. Can be taken down, has dog shit takedown defense. And to his credit, he will be hella offensive off his back, but doesn't really show any kind of crazy IQ in terms of getting off his back. Doesn't really have to worry about that here against Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page is another striker, but completely different in terms of style. He's more of karate based, very Wonder Boy-esque, I guess.
He's in my opinion, he's more explosive than Wonder Boy.
I don't disagree with that.
He hits harder than him too. He's bigger as well. Moving up in weight, by the way, and he's going to have the bigger dimensions in this fight. Keep that in mind.
And for that reason alone, actually not for that reason alone, but for that reason, and on top of the fact that I think he just knows how to manage space better than I've seen practically any fighter, I'm going to be leaning MVP here for the win. Now, can he get knocked out by Shara Bullet? Yes, he can. I think he can. I think Shara's got underrated hand speed. And underrated, his kicks are very fast and he hits extremely hard. That being said, the way MVP can it's just going to be a distance thing. And I think the way he could just manage that distance, the way he's going to be in and out, going to be a little frustrating for Shara. Shara's going to be the one that's going to have to push the offense if he wants to win this fight. And MVP, say what you want about his Bellator background, RIP to Bellator, but he's good.
He's a good fighter,
He's a good fighter. And
I thought he beat Ian Gary.
Yeah, it arguably did beat Ian Gary.
And people discredit him. I mean, me and you made a ton of money on the Kevin Holland bet when he first came in. That was an easy fucking play. And no disrespect to Shara, if you're not wrestling MVP, you're gonna be in some shit because he's lit up some guys that know how to strike, lit them on fire in Bellator, and even Ian Gary. Ian Gary is defined predominantly as a decent striker, and he had to wrestle him because it's you just underestimate how fast this guy is. He's moving up. He's going to be faster than Shara.
Yes.
And
he's still going to be bigger than Shara.
He's going to be bigger, faster. You could argue just a pop shotting, he's going to drop him a couple of times. I just feel like if this fight's going to stay on the feet, I feel like he's going to get, Shara's going to get lamped a little bit here, man.
I do think he's got a good chin, though.
Don't get me wrong. And listen, the only one who's knocked out MVP is Douglas Lima. And it's literally because Douglas caught him on the way up after kicking him in the leg. Unless I see a scenario like that again, I just don't see it. But I would hope MVP, at least, which he does work on his defensive grappling very well, defensively stands up correctly. So that means he posts on the floor with his backhand, gets his legs under him and keeps his hands straight up. So if the kick comes or the punch comes, he can bring it back to block or to cover up. So that's predominantly how you should be standing up. When he did it against Douglas, he did it completely incorrectly, and that's why he got caught on the chin. Once again, I think Shera will welcome him back up for the contest just because it's going to be a great fight. The only thing is MVP's a little patient. This fight has the potential to be boring, so get ready for it. I will say this fight by decision, but if MVP knocked him out or Shera knocked him out, I wouldn't be surprised. But I just feel like Shera hasn't seen speed like this, and he's blind in one eye. Let's just call it, he can't get sanctioned in the States because he's blind in one eye. Let's just call it what it is. So you're telling me a one-eye blind guy who I think is mediocre at this level is going to beat probably one of the more prolific strikers I've ever seen in MMA. And by the way, this is a guy who was able to lamp Ian Gary with the threat of the takedown there. Now you're going to let this guy fight free because he knows he's not going to get taken down. If you want the real, MVP's the better wrestler here, which is fucking crazy. He's way better. Actually. He's the better wrestler and grappler. I got to lean MVP for those factors. Give me MVP as the dog shot here, man. Let's bring it home, boys.
Next fight at men's middleweight and as currently constituted the main event of the evening, we have the last style bender, Israel Adesanya, going one-on-one with the sniper, Nassourdine Imavov. Adesanya is 24-4, fighting out of Auckland, New Zealand, repping Nigeria, 35 years old. Imavov is 15-4, fighting out of France, hailing from France, 28 years old.
Probably the second or third best and most interesting fight in this card.
This is Adesanya's first fight in 6 years where he hasn't fought for or defended a belt.
It's crazy.
And when I first seen this card and I seen his name, my brain said, oh, it's another pay-per-view back-to-back. Nope, they got him on a fight night.
It's a glorified fight night, though, for sure.
That being said, it 100% is a glorified fight night because it is popping off in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia here. And I'm still going to be leaning here Adesanya, and there's a couple of reasons why. Is Adesanya washed? No. Is Adesanya still a top 5 fighter? Yes. Is this the back end of Adesanya's career? Possibly. I mean, he's 35 years old. He ain't getting any younger. He's already technically peaked. But that being said, in his last fight against Dricus, was very aggressive in that fight.
Very competitive fight.
Looked very good in that fight. I think you have to give Dricus a little more credit for making that fight a little more hairy than it was and needed to be, and at least for Adesanya, right? I still think Adesanya is good, and Adesanya really hasn't changed in that much in terms of his style or how to prepare for him or how to fight against him. Very good striker, defensively responsible, doesn't like to get hit, very active feet. You can take him down, but he will do his damn darnest to get back up. Imavov, very good striker, can mix into wrestling. Are they jumping him up maybe a little too soon? Maybe not. I don't think so. I think this is a good fight, a good litmus test for both guys. I do like Imavov. He has grown on me. Didn't really like him initially. I don't want to say he checks out mentally sometimes, but there's some fights where you kind of question the IQ just a bit. Is Imavov going to threaten grappling? I think he will. Will he threaten grappling enough to win this fight? Probably not. I think he would need to push a kind of a crazy pace on Adesanya. That's not really his style. I think if this fight stays striking, he will offer Adesanya some different looks, but I don't think he's going to be pressuring Adesanya the way I think you should if you want to beat Adesanya. And I don't think he's going to go to the wrestling as much as I think you need to do to mix it up on Adesanya. I think this is Adesanya win. Does he finish him? Probably not. I'm going to be picking Israel, the last style bender here, by decision.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not going to add much on to that because that was a beautiful, beautiful breakdown by you.
Oh, thank you, man.
It was very articulate. I would just add that the proof is in the pudding with how you beat Izzy. You have to create opportunities to engage the wrestling. And Imavov doesn't do either, really, at a high pace. Imavov waits for you to make mistakes to really engage with the wrestling. Dricus will create opportunities to get to the wrestling. Strickland will just create opportunities with the striking by making you miss on him. But we'll keep it predominantly Dricus because Dricus is the one who's kind of gang busted this. If you're not an elite striker with elite power like Pereira, you're not going to knock out Izzy. Imavov, pretty good striker, not elite power. If you're not a wrestler of the level of Dricus or the submission artist level of Dricus, you're not going to beat Izzy. Imavov doesn't really go to his wrestling. He wrestled twice against Cannonier. He got 2 takedowns on Cannonier. One was off a kick, kind of dropped him to the floor. I didn't really count that one. Didn't have too much control time. The other one was when Cannonier overextended and he was able to run to his back, get him to the cage, get him down. Also did not control him for a large amount of time in that period. And here's the other thing. He was losing that fight against Cannonier until that horrible stoppage. I had Cannonier 2-1 up, arguably 3 up on him heading into the 4th. This is a lot for Imavov. I know they're doing it on his side of the world, and I think this is I think there might be some upside in playing him here. I don't see it. I think Izzy has had historically good takedown defense, especially from the outside, especially against guys who are not necessarily creating havoc to get to those takedowns like Dricus. I think Izzy styles on him. I think Izzy gets a decision here. I think he fights safe. If he wants to emphatically make a point, he probably could stop this guy like Strickland did. But the thing is, in order to stop him, you need to make him work. Izzy not high volume. I think this is an easy decision play for Stylebender. I think Stylebender gets it done by decision because you can't trust. And even though Imavov probably is the better wrestler, you can't trust him to go to it because he's only really effectively used it in like 2 fights. Cannonier was 2. I think the second most he's ever done it to was against Joaquin Buckley, who shouldn't be fighting at 85. He should be fighting at 70. And that fight still went to decision. That means he's a guy that can probably get you down, but he's not going to finish you when you're down there. For me, I think this is a good fight for Izzy. Good test to see where he's at. I think he gets it done via decision.
And that does it for the UFC Riyadh portion of the podcast, but we do have some boxing to break down. We have a huge PBC card and a notable women's fight that we're probably going to be kicking off with first. That's going to be taking place in Flint, Michigan, going to be broadcasting on the Zone. The headliner is Claressa Shields going one-on-one with Danielle Perkins in a 10-round fight for the undisputed women's heavyweight title. And like always, I'm going to kick it over to my brother, the boxing aficionado, for the breakdown.
Well, this one's going to be relatively quick. This one in particular, I just feel like this girl hasn't fought in 3 years. She's coming off the couch. Claressa's literally running out of girls to beat up. I want to look a little more closely into this one before I give you an official prediction in terms of what Claressa's going to do, because she could cruise to a decision here, but she could definitely pack this fucking girl up. And I feel like she probably will, especially with all that rage she's got against Remy Ma right now with the Papoose situation. I think she's ready to kill a bitch.
The streets, the streets is calling.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I think this is a pretty easy play. I think it's Claressa by however she wants. Follow us on all social media platforms. We'll definitely keep you posted on how we're going to cap it. And the reason why I can't give you anything right now is because there's not really lines available on some of these books, which I'm looking at, and there's a reason for that. And this fight kind of got announced recently. We're also recording this like a week in advance. Shit will play out as the week plays out, but I feel like Claressa's ready to make a statement, then call out Remy Ma on the mic, bro. You know what I'm saying? Not to our rap battle.
This is crazy.
Not to a rap battle.
To an actual battle.
I think she's ready to put hands on the bitch. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like this is Claressa's fight to win or lose. I think she could do whatever she wants in there. Claressa Shields by demolition, low key.
And now moving right along to the huge PBC card that's happening here in the T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. We'll kick it off with the featured fight. Isaac Cruz going one-on-one with Fierro. My brother, take it away.
This is low-key another fight where I feel like it's Pitbull's to lose. The only thing that always worries me about Pitbull, betting Pitbull, his inability to cut off the ring, which is why we play Venezuela against him. The thing is Fierro going to realistically be able to keep him on the outside long enough for this fight for Pitbull not to land on him? I have a little bit of a hard time believing that. Pitbull literally lives up to the nickname. Pressure fighter, walks you down. He is small for the weight class. This guy's gonna have 3 inches in size on him. To be honest, like, unless you're a tremendous boxer on your back foot, which Fierro I don't believe is, I feel like this is gonna be a long night for Fierro. Bad news, Fierro. I think Pitbull probably knocks him out. And I think Pitbull probably knocks him out. And he think he's confident he's probably gonna get rid of him because he just turned down a big bag from Saudi to fight Ryan Garcia. With that said, I think Angel Fierro, I don't think he's got it for him. I think Angel doesn't have the necessary tools. He fought a couple of wash guys, maybe 1 or 2 decent contenders. I just think Pitbull's the much more proven commodity here, and I think this is Pitbull's fight to lose. Especially, and like I said, the signs are there. The fact that he turned on the big bag from Saudi means he's confident he's probably going to run through this dude. I think he wanted the sure money. I think he wanted the sure belt. Give me Pitbull. I'm going to say Pitbull by knockout. But once again, tune in later in the week. We'll see how we play with the odds because he is minus 700. So I'm curious to how juiced some of those props are. So give me Pitbull by knockout.
Moving right along here, we have the co-main event. It's going to be a 12-round fight for the WBC World Featherweight title. It's going to be the champion, Brandon the Heartbreaker Figueroa, going one-on-one with Cool Boy Steph.
Yeah, this is a... It hurts me to say this because I like Stephen Fulton. This is an easy side play. I think Figueroa is going to beat him up. And I think the first fight was a fight of the year. You could argue Figueroa won the fight. It was that close. I'm not mad it went to Fulton, but Fulton since then had a fight with Inoue. I thought that fight was going to go to decision, and he got stopped badly. His next fight, and that was at 122. He moved up to 126 for Carlos Castro, and Castro put fucking hands on him. To be honest, the fact that this fight is not at 122 and at 126, I think favors Figueroa. Figueroa is the much bigger fighter, the much bigger puncher. He's the pressure fighter. Fulton, fading a little easier to hit, it seems these days. His pop shotting is not working at this weight class the way it did in the previous weight class, and he took a significant amount of time off from the Inoue fight to the Carlos Castro fight. I just feel like this is Figueroa's fight to lose. I know it started off as a pick'em. We missed that line, unfortunately. It's at minus 150, the lowest right now. I think that's fucking playable. I might put 3 units to win 2 on Figueroa to win this fight. I'd be very surprised if Figueroa lost this fight. I just feel like with the size, the volume punching, the youth, the chin, Fulton getting cracked in his last fight. Fulton made that. We bet Fulton against Carlos Castro. That's a guy he would normally dog walk, in my opinion. But I think that Inoue fight, that stoppage, kind of changed him a little bit. And I still think he's got that dog in him. But the thing is, he got caught by a guy who I think is decent. He's not good. I think Figueroa has potential to be great. Like, he has potential to have bigger moments in his career than Carlos Castro. And that's the other thing, the downloaded data factor. They've seen each other. They know each other's tendencies. Fulton is not going to have as much success pop-shotting him, in my opinion, because of the extra weight. I think Figueroa gets it done. I think he probably gets it done via knockout. I also like the knockdowns in this fight. If there's an over 2, I expect Fulton to possibly get dropped and then get back up. So if you're going to play the knockdowns, probably play Fulton. I'd be very surprised if Figueroa gets knocked down this fight. I like Figueroa's money line for sure. I like the knockdowns for sure. The knockout, depending on how juicy it is, I think that's a playable spot too, because I think there's a high probability of him packing him up, as the great Tank Davis would say.
They would have been packing him up.
Give me Figueroa.
And last but not least, the main event. It's a 12-rounder for not only the WBC interim light heavyweight title, but the WBA light heavyweight title. We have El Monstro, David Benavidez, going one-on-one with David Morrell Jr.
Last but not least, probably the biggest fight of the weekend, low-key, if you understand fighting. This fight is happening when it should be. This fight happening at this time, now there's a possibility for them having a trilogy.
Both undefeated, right?
Both undefeated. Both fighting up at light heavyweight, not fighting at 68, which is where they originally were at, and we're technically chasing Canelo. One of the hardest fights to call. I will say I would love to see what the knockdown props are in this fight. They haven't dropped yet. That's what has my interest, because I feel Morrell can drop Benavidez early. Benavidez stands 2 square. Morrell is a big puncher. But I also feel like Benavidez could drop him late with a body shot or drop him late with just pure volume. Benavidez is the more experienced fighter, the better brand of competition. You could argue combo puncher. I think Morrell is a slicker boxer, knows how to stay on the outside, and has big power. With the lean here, I'm leaning Benavidez, man, but God, if Morrell hurt him and stopped him, was able to hurt him multiple times during the fight, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm leaning Benavidez just on experience, championship experience. They both fought at 175 their last fight, but this guy, Benavidez, fought a guy who is probably the 3rd or 4th best guy in the division. Morrell did not fight the 3rd or 4th best guy in this division. People were slandering Benavidez. Benavidez hasn't really committed to this weight class. Neither has Morrell, though. That's why if Morrell was committed to the weight class, I'd be a little more afraid of Benavidez physically. Benavidez hasn't committed to the weight class. Benavidez is fighting, fought the better brand of competition in both weight classes. Benavidez has the more championship experience because he's fought 12 rounds for most of his career. Morrell typically dispatches of some of these guys. And you did see in Morrell's last fight against a guy who was not very highly touted have some struggles, especially late. Kind of lost a couple of rounds, got caught with the jab coming in because he kind of does load up on some of his shots. Not that Benavidez doesn't, but Benavidez rolls better with his punches, in my opinion. Which is why even though he stands square, which you're not taught to do in boxing, he's able to deal with you on your exits throwing wide hooks and following you on your exits.
Definitely the more versatile striker, Benavidez.
He is awkward as hell. And then hitting him he rolls well and has a good chin. Morrell also good chin. I don't know if it's as good as Benavidez's, but I just feel like with the experience, the championship experience, the level of competition, the volume punching, I think Benavidez is going to know he's going to have to weather this guy early and then just fade him late. I feel like Benavidez, there's a very strong possibility for Benavidez to stop him late. With that said, I don't know how confident I feel betting this fight because Morrell is that good. I like the knockdowns in this fight. That's what I feel relatively confident about. I feel like one's going to get knocked out multiple times or they're both going to get knocked out at least once. So for me, that's how I'm looking at this fight. We'll see how things progress throughout the week. I don't feel comfortable laying minus 170 on Benavidez like I do Figueroa because I think there's way more variables to this fight than the co-main. I don't think Morrell's seen anything like this before.
No.
Everyone, there's a lot of guys who are Olympic level boxers like Morrell that have gotten in there with him and they're like, what the fuck is this? And if Morrell was a natural 175er, I would feel more confident in Benavidez stretching him to the finish like he did the last opponent. Thing is, Morrell's a 68er just moving up the same way as Benavidez. That's why I gotta lean Benavidez here, and I think Benavidez is the real deal. And also at this point in time, probably gonna beat Canelo if they fought each other too. I think he's a nightmare for Canelo, especially at this tenure, which is why I don't know if we're ever gonna get that fight, low key, but
Probably not.
yeah, I don't blame Canelo.
Just get excited for Canelo Crawford. That's what we're getting.
And here's the thing too, guys. I know people are saying Canelo's ducking this kid, possibly, but let's keep in mind, Benavidez had an opportunity to fight him, fumbled the bag on the scales, lost the belt because of belt that Canelo was looking for because of weight, and also had issues with cocaine. He fumbled the bag when he could have had the opportunity to fight Canelo. And at that time, I think Canelo would have exposed him because Canelo's 168 run is historical, in my opinion. Like, he ran through some of the best guys, and people were saying, oh, well, Caleb Plant's not that good, and this and that. And you seen Caleb Plant in his last couple of fights after Canelo, where he's a fucking beast.
That's an absurd thing to say.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Like, everyone wants to just slander how good Canelo Alvarez is. Maybe not this time, but Canelo could do whatever the fuck he wants. In my opinion, he should just vacate the 168-pound belts because he doesn't need them.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't need him. He makes whatever he makes, and I think he just has so much control of the game right now. He could do whatever he wants. He's on this Floyd Cruz thing. But my thing is, it's like, don't criticize the guy when he fought Triple G twice in his prime. He fought a lot of these guys when they weren't seasoned. He lost to Lara. Probably should have given him the rematch. I thought he lost to Lara. I thought he lost both Triple G fights. But granted, the point is that he didn't duck those guys. But the thing is, what's going to happen is if he beats Benavidez, you guys are going to say he has to fight Morrell. He ain't got to do shit. And that's just my opinion on the whole situation. So
It'd be nice to see that fight, though.
I would love to see him fight both of them. I would like to see all three of them fight each other. But and here's the other thing too, and what people don't want to acknowledge: Benavidez doesn't do good numbers. That's why his last fight he had to co-headline on the Tank. Respectfully too, Benavidez. Like, if you ever listen to this, bro, I have a tremendous amount of respect to your boxing skill. I think you beat Canelo right now. I really do. I'd probably put 2-3 units on you to beat him. I'd be very surprised if you lost that fight. There's a lot of reasons why he doesn't want to fight you.
Boxing's a numbers game, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you're not a big draw. Like, this is not like the Manny and Floyd situation.
Yeah.
Because Floyd...
And it's not, I don't think it's Benavidez' fault either. I mean,
No.
I think Benavidez is an excellent fighter, and I think he should be a big draw. But for whatever reason,
Yeah, they can't sell him. And I think that's the promoter's fault. I think he is super marketable, speaks tremendously good Spanish, very well spoken in English, fucking fights the part. I mean, dude, he's
fighter,
everything you want. Exactly. And he's undefeated and he's a beast. So respectfully, Benavidez, I think you're the beast. I think Morrell gives Canelo work too. And Canelo ain't gonna look his way either because he's fucking dangerous.
Easier fight for him, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think Benavidez is the tougher fight stylistically for Canelo because at least Canelo will get a chess match with Morrell. I think Benavidez just gonna bully him. So give me Benavidez as the lean. Sorry for the long-winded rant. There's going to be a little section, I think, that's going to be like Canelo rant. And
Oh, yeah, I'm going to label it that way.
yeah, hilarious. But give me Benavidez to win against Morrell this weekend. Not with a high degree of confidence because it is a good fight, but I feel relatively okay saying that. Don't know how. We'll figure it out. Follow us on all social media platforms. You already know the deal.
And that does it for our, I'm gonna token this term, our combat coverage. We did some boxing, did some UFC. But, like always, my brother, take us home.
You already know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody, please, if you're enjoying this visual part of the podcast, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. Love you guys. Holla at you guys. Take it easy. See you for next week's episode. We missed you last week. We had a week off, so take it easy. Holla at you. Peace.